A single shipwreck, one storm, and the entire course of history changed. This is the forgotten story of the São João, the wreck that rewrote the fate of two continents. In 1552, the Portuguese carrack São João embarked on a journey from India to Portugal, carrying spices, silk, and treasure, invaluable commodities that could alter the course of global trade. But off the coast of modern-day South Africa, disaster struck. A massive storm shattered the ship against jagged rocks. The wreck left more than 400 survivors stranded in a foreign land, unable to comprehend the magnitude of the tragedy that had just unfolded. Their journey would set the stage for an empire to rise, but it would also change the very fabric of Africa and Europe. As the São João splintered into pieces, the survivors were thrown onto the shores of an unknown coastline. Waves crashed against the jagged rocks, scattering the wreckage. Women and children screamed, their voices barely audible over the storm's roar. Captain Ferreira shouting, "Everyone, to the shore! Quickly before the tides pull us back." First Mate Domingo struggling to keep his balance. "We've lost the ship, but we have our lives." Merchant Ricardo fighting to keep a chest of goods afloat. "Not all of us, Domingos. Not all of us." The survivors scrambled, some able-bodied, others unable to help themselves. As they made their way to the shore, they witnessed the devastation of the shipwreck. Planks of wood, broken sails, cargo scattered, and the smell of salt water and death in the air. The survivors were washed ashore, their fate now uncertain. There was no immediate threat from hostile forces, but the reality was stark. They were stranded in an unknown world. On the shore, the survivors gathered what little remained of their supplies. The captains surveyed the landscape, a land unknown to them, filled with dangers they had never considered. The Portuguese Empire had sent them on a journey to bring riches back from India, but now they would have to fight to survive. Captain Ferreira looking out over the unfamiliar terrain. "We must focus on survival. First we find water, then we find shelter." First Mate Domingos nodding. "We can't stay here long. We need to move before the tribes notice us." Merchant Ricardo looking at the wreckage. "We may not have gold or silk, but we have something just as valuable, our knowledge of the world. The Portuguese will come for us." As they ventured further inland, the survivors began to notice signs of life trails, footprints, and smoke rising in the distance. Tensions escalated when they encountered the first indigenous tribe. The survivors didn't know what to expect. The tribe was wary of these strange people, not knowing if they were hostile invaders or desperate refugees. Tribe leader approaching cautiously, "Who are you, and what do you seek in these lands?" Captain Ferreira bowing slightly, hands open. "We seek water. We seek shelter. We are survivors of a shipwreck. We mean no harm." Tribe leader eyeing the survivors, then nodding. "You are far from your home. We will share what we have, but you must give us something in return." First Mate Domingos whispering, "They may be our only chance for survival. Let us offer them what we can." The tribe exchanged food, water, and knowledge about the land, which was invaluable to the survivors. Some members of the tribe offered guidance, while others stood back suspicious. It became clear that the survivors would need to trade and barter for everything they needed in this new world. After several weeks of living off the land, the survivors realized that their only chance for rescue lay far to the north. There they believed they could reach Portuguese settlements or trade routes. They would face a long, perilous journey, but there was no other choice. Captain Ferreira gathering the survivors. "We go north. We find civilization. It's our only hope of returning home." Merchant Ricardo skeptical, and the tribes? Some have been helpful, others hostile. "We're risking everything." First Mate Domingos firm. "We risk it all then. We either survive or perish. This land is hostile, but we must move forward." The survivors embarked on their journey, walking for hundreds of miles across the unforgiving landscape. They marched through deserts, dense forests, and mountains, facing starvation and thirst. Along the way, some survivors died, others were killed in skirmishes with hostile tribes, and some simply gave up. Yet they pushed on their will to survive stronger than ever. Survivor Marta weak, stumbling. "I can't go on, Captain. I can't." Captain Ferreira gently lifting her up. "You will. You must. We all must. First mate Domingos looking at the horizon. We cannot stop. We are so close. They continued their journey, documenting their experiences along the way. Journals were filled with detailed observations about the land, the people, and the animals. These records would go on to change European understanding of Africa, becoming valuable resources for future explorers. As they journeyed, the survivors began creating maps of the terrain. Their documents detailed rivers, mountains, and tribes they encountered. Their writing was filled with insights into the culture of the tribes, their customs, and their ways of life. The journals would go on to be the key to Portugal's eventual colonization of Africa. Merchant Ricardo examining a map. This land is rich with resources, far more than we knew. We must mark this well, Captain Ferreira reflecting. We're not just surviving now, we are shaping the future. Though many of the survivors perished during the journey, a small group eventually reached Portuguese settlements. They brought back detailed journals, maps, and first-hand accounts of Africa, the wealth, the people, the resources. Their stories would launch a new wave of exploration and colonization. Survivor Marta gazing at the ocean, we have made it. But what have we brought with us, Captain? Ferreira reflecting on the journey, we've brought more than riches. We've brought knowledge. Merchant Ricardo excited this knowledge. It will change everything. Portugal will see Africa differently now. The survivors were celebrated as heroes. Their discovery would be instrumental in Portugal's expansion along the African coast. But as they looked back on the journey, they realized that what began as a simple trade mission had transformed into a monumental turning point in history. Subscribe to Legacy Thread, where the world's forgotten disasters, heroes, and turning points are brought back to life. Because some shipwrecks don't just sink, they change history.